mentor training. I am so excited to see all of you here. We have quite a diverse group of people on this call. So some of you have been mentoring since this program originated a few years ago. And for some of you, you have been newly nominated, and I am so proud to add you to the list. So we are just going to go through a quick mentor training so that you all know the expectations, what's important, and what we are hoping to get out of our mentoring. If you have questions, please feel free to stop me at any point. If you want to send them in the chat, I will get to that after the presentation. But if you want to stop me as I am speaking, please feel free to come off mute and ask any questions. So, mentoring, it is a big part of our RISE professional development program. So with RISE, we have a lot of different programs that we offer, and mentorship, I would argue, is one of the most impactful development programs that we offer. I think that you could make an argument that it fits many of the different RISE personal and professional development goals. But the one that I really want to hone in on today is leadership development. So mentorship is linked to higher rates of retention, job satisfaction, promotion, confidence, and productivity for both the mentor and the mentee. Isn't that just incredible? I love those statistics, and I love what that says about being a mentor. So if you are somebody who is new to mentorship and you're kind of wondering what's in it for me, there's a lot in it for you. So thank you, first of all, for being here to learn more about it. And I'm excited for all that it can offer both you and the new hire that you will be mentoring. As a lot of you know, mentorship is a prerequisite to our Next Step skill building program, LEAD, and for promotions. And the reason for this is because we strongly feel that mentorship goes hand in hand with all of these things. We want to develop you, and in order to be ready for those next things, we want to make sure that you are equipped and willing to be a mentor. So you're all here for that reason, and I am so, so grateful. So why are you here? Your leadership team sees potential in you. Every single person on this call is here because somebody on your executive leadership team nominated you. So you are not here by accident. You are here because you are already living out our core values. You've already been a resource to your peers, and you are already a reliable champion of our culture. And those are three things that are so, so important. And I think as we continue to talk through this, you will understand why. And like I said earlier, we want to engage and develop you. We think that you're ready. You've already been doing this stuff, so I truly believe that this will be a natural transition for you to make it official. But we want to pour into you and invest in you, and mentorship is one of the biggest ways that we can do that. So what are our expectations? This is fair to want to know what you would be getting yourselves into. And I do want to be open that if after this call, you're like, it's just too much and I'm not ready and now's not the time, you are allowed to turn down this opportunity, and we definitely understand. But this is what it looks like. We ask that our mentors have one meeting a week for the first 6 weeks of a new hire's career here at Rehab Medical. We are asking, some might say begging, you to schedule these meetings ahead of time. I'm looking for 15 to 30 minutes a week. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. I don't want the time to feel forced, but I do want you to be intentional to schedule that meeting up front so that it feels intentional to the new hire, it feels like it's on purpose, and so that it does not fall through the cracks, because I know from my own experience that it is very easy to let the week get away from you, and before you know it, it's been 2 or 3 weeks that you haven't met with your mentee, and that's not what we're looking for. So I recommend at the beginning of, once you know that you are paired with this person, put those meetings on their calendar and your calendar, for maybe schedule it for 30 minutes, and if it's only 15, then that's okay. And that way it won't be forgotten. What is mentoring not? It is not just going and checking in on your mentee. So if you're in the same office and you see them in the hallway or you go up to their cube and you're like, hey, how's it going? That is not what we're looking for here. I do think that that's great. And I do think that you should do that. But I want the meetings to be intentional. And we're going to talk about what will take place in those meetings and why doing that passive check-in is not quite enough. Although, again, it is a great addition. If you are in the same location, or honestly, even if you're not, there is an option to do coffee, soda, or lunch with your mentee, and you can reimburse this for up to $50 per mentee. So if you want to go out and sit down and have a nicer lunch at somewhere that might require a tip, that might be your only thing that you do here. Maybe you're like, I don't really want to do lunch, but let's do a few different coffee meetings and treat them that way. Or maybe neither of you are really into coffee, but they mentioned in the first meeting that they really like Sour Patch Kids, or, whatever it is, use this budget to make them feel important and like you're thinking of them. If you are not in the same location and you're like, well, that's a bummer because I would love to do coffee with them, but we are across the country, I encourage you to send them coffee. You can DoorDash it or send them lunch. I think that that is a really, really nice touch that our employees deserve, but this is not a requirement of the program. However, if this is something that you want to do, but money is a concern, please let me know. The last thing I want is for this to be a barrier for you. We have other solutions that we can work with you on. So please just come talk to me, or if you feel more comfortable going directly to your leader, please do that and we will get you taken care of so that that is not a barrier to you becoming a mentor. At the end of the 6 weeks, all of you will be required to complete the mentor feedback form. And this is a form to just let us know how the meetings went, what worked, what didn't, do you have concerns, and get your feedback. And for transparency's sake, your mentee will also be completing the feedback form as well. So that is not to get anybody in trouble, but it is just so that we're all on the same page and we know what's working for them, what's not working for them, and what their experience is like. Because again, we want this to be a great experience for them. And we believe that mentorship is one of the most important programs that we offer, especially for our brand new employees. So next, I'm going to go through what the 6 weeks will look like. Week 1, introductions, culture, and support. So this is a great opportunity to, of course, introduce yourself, talk about what you do for the company, how long you've been here, what different positions you've held, how things have changed since you started. If you are open to sharing about your personal life, I think that this is a great time to do it. They will probably be as open with you as you are with them. So whatever you are comfortable with sharing, I don't want you to feel like you have to overshare with your coworker who you just met. So do what you are comfortable with, but just know that if you are open to sharing about yourself, then they will probably do the same, and it'll just start the relationship off on a good open foot. So next, discuss what you enjoy most about working here. They just got through orientation. They have been here for just a week. Well, for anybody who's been through orientation in the last couple of years, you know that orientation is a lot of rah-rah. It's a lot of us talking about how great it is to work here. And I think that people are usually pretty excited coming out of orientation, but a little bit like, is it real? So this is your chance to show them it's real. Yeah, things are not perfect, but I think you're going to love it here. And here's why. Here's why I love it here. You can talk about the company structure and point them to the support teams of HR, IT, marketing, payer relations, and facilities through the help desk. So when you are a new hire, you have a lot of questions at the beginning, and it is great to know where to go for that, because a lot of us, even who've been here for years, are like, I don't know who to ask this question anymore. I can speak for HR alone. We've had a lot of changes in what we all do. And so maybe you're like, I actually don't know who it would be. So putting a ticket in is the absolute best way to get a hold of these teams and it go to the correct person. This is an opportunity to highlight the Employee Assistance Program, let them know that it is free, confidential counseling for both employees and members of their household. And this is a good opportunity to ask them, what helps you feel supported and engaged at work? Naraya, I see your hand up. Do you have a question?
Really quickly, I just wanted to know, I may have missed it. Did we get this PowerPoint or will this be shared with us at any point?
Yes, you have not received it yet, but I will absolutely, great question. I'm going to send this, and each time you are paired with a new mentee, you will receive an outline of all of these things, of what to talk about and additional resources. So if I'm talking about something and you're like, gosh, I don't know anything about that, how am I going to talk about it? I'm going to send some additional resources so that you can educate yourself. And if you want, you can even share those resources with your new mentee, but that's not a requirement. It's really for you, but whatever makes the conversation easy.
Perfect.
Yes.
I was reading this. I was like, oh, this is a good resource to have. I'd actually like a copy. Okay.
Yes, no, for sure. Thank you for asking. All right, week 2, establishing financial confidence. I don't need you to ask them personal questions about their finances. However, we as a company, as you may have noticed, we know that finances are a big part of what we're thinking about at work, outside of work. It is a huge part of our lives, whether we want it to be or not. And we try to do as much as we can to support employees in their financial journey, whether that is through programs, education, or hard benefits. So the first thing here, 401k, please remind them that we do offer a 4% company match. It is through Fidelity, and they are eligible for that along with all of their other benefits, which is the first of the month following 30 days of employment. So they can sign up for that. I don't need to be a 401k expert. You can point them to Fidelity if they have questions, or you can point them to Your Money Line, which I'm sure you all are familiar with Your Money Line. It is free financial coaching, budgeting tools, and credit support. So they will be hearing a lot about this in their onboarding because we want to establish a good foundation with that and help them to know like this resource is covered for you so that you can feel more confident in your financial life. The HSA, if you know me, you know I love it. The HSA, it is a triple tax advantage for medical expenses, which maybe you're like, what does that even mean? It is okay if you are not an expert on the benefits of the HSA. I'm happy to talk to anybody about that. I'm not a financial advisor, but I can share what I know. Your Money Line and Fidelity will also be great resources if they want more information on how this works. But I feel that the HSA is one of the most beneficial things that we offer to employees that helps them currently and long term. And then if in your conversations, they are talking about having young kids, kids in daycare, kids who are going to camps in the summer, I would encourage you to mention our FSA, which is a flexible spending account for dependent care expenses only. And it is use it or lose it. So if you have somebody who they're paying for a couple of camps in the summer, you want to make sure that they are not putting more into this than what they are going to use. If they are paying for daycare, I don't think it's possible to put more into this than what you will use for daycare, but that is just a good thing to be mindful of, that it is use it or lose it. If you do not spend the money by the end of the year, it is lost. So with the HSA, it does roll over every year, so you do not miss out on anything there. Week 3, personal wellness and balance. So check on how their first few weeks have been. They're starting to settle in. They're not brand new anymore, but probably still kind of underwater. So check in on them, see how they're doing. Share with them the wellness amenities and activities For corporate employees specifically, I would love for you to encourage the Lakefront app because that is our business park and they offer a lot of free wellness amenities. So one example is they do paddleboard yoga, which I'm like, that's crazy. I can't paddleboard or do yoga, but that's like a fun thing that they offer. They do spin classes, they have blood drives that they do. So that's a great thing to tap into. And if you are not at corporate, but you know of places like that in your area that offer stuff like that, share that because we should totally take advantage of that. Also, this is a great time to talk about that the EAP is more than just counseling services. They also offer legal, financial, lifestyle, and wellness coaching support. I think the EAP is a great place to start with any questions that aren't specific to rehab industries. You can send them to the EAP and they can find resources in their community and they are absolutely incredible. So keep that in mind. HSA wellness program. So you've already introduced the HSA, but this is a great opportunity to talk about the wellness piece of it and that if they complete the quarterly activities each quarter, then they can earn the $250 contribution, which is $1,000 a year of free money. So if they do have to be in our medical insurance in order to have that HSA, but as long as they have the HSA set up and are in our medical insurance, then they can participate in the wellness activities and get that $1,000 pay bump every year. And then this is a good opportunity to ask what helps you to stay energized and balanced throughout the day, because that might look different for everybody. And maybe something that they enjoy doing is going for walks. And so then maybe you're like, all right, well, next week for our meeting, we're going to go for a walk instead of meeting in the lobby. So whatever works for you guys, but just good to check in and see what's important to them. Growth and career development. Man, this is one of those things that I think you all might be amazed at how early on people are already asking about what's next for them, which I think is incredible. So one thing I do want to point out that is not written here is our expectation is that an employee stays in their current position for at least 12 months prior to transitioning to a new role. So if they are coming to you and asking about different roles, this is a good opportunity to let them know, like, hang tight for your first year, get this experience, get really good at your job, and we can give you pointers on how to then transition to a new role down the road. But just so that you know, so that you can set that expectation for them if needed. A great program that we offer is our tuition reimbursement. So it is $2,500 per employee per year. So as long as we have the budget for it, they can submit a ticket for any questions that they have about this. They do have to be here for 6 months before they can qualify for this, other than the ATP program. But this is a great thing to utilize because if you have any desire to get additional education, whether that is getting a degree or a certification or something different, why not take advantage of this? So the Next Step Skill Building Program and LEAD are two things that I kind of want to loop together. So the Next Step Skill Building is for individual contributors and LEAD is for all of the managers and above. Every manager has to go through it. So I think that these would be a great opportunity to network. If you know somebody who has been through one of these programs, this would be awesome to introduce them to somebody and let that person share about their experience. Maybe you have or are going to go through one of these experiences this year, and then you can share from your own perspective. But even if you haven't, or maybe you don't know somebody directly, like for LEAD, maybe you aren't a manager, so you haven't gone through that, but your manager went through it, and you can talk about how they shifted their management style based on what they learned during LEAD, or something that has been helpful even in the Next Step Skill Building that has shifted how you do things. Next, ATP and PCR development programs. These are two programs that I would argue are some of the biggest reasons our new hires come and work for Rehab Medical. We are very proud of these programs, and I think we should be. And again, if you're like, well, I don't really know anything about those, this is a great opportunity to introduce them to somebody who does. So somebody who has been through the ATP program or a sales rep who went through the PCR pathway. This is a great networking opportunity. I don't expect you all to be experts on everything on this list, but would love for you to be that person to connect them with people who are experts. If you've experienced one of our development programs, I would love for you to share it so that they can see that anybody can take advantage of it. And it might be a little bit intimidating to get started, but here's how you do it. And here's what you did and how it changed things for you. And this is a great opportunity to ask them what their personal and professional goals are. Week 5, purpose, impact, and engagement. We talk a lot about improving lives. And so what does that look like out in our communities? We offer 1 day of paid volunteer time every year for every employee. And we do strongly encourage that this be a team event for 2 reasons. We, of course, love the team building aspect of volunteering with your peers, but also we contribute financially based on the number of employees who are participating in those group volunteer events. And so you have a greater impact when you volunteer with your team, and we get more participation through that. With volunteering and the company events and team activities, I so strongly believe that you get out what you put in. And so encourage them that even as they get busy and, your job you're going to have a lot to do. Like that's how we are. But really try to take the time to participate in these activities, because that is what makes this a holistic workplace, which we feel so strongly about. And we put so much into making this not just a place that you come and clock in and do your job and then clock out and go home. Like, we want this to be an enjoyable place for employees to be. And the team activities and company events and volunteer days are a big part of that. And I know conference feels really far away, but I think it's great to start planting the seed of what conference is and encouraging them to come, because it can be a little bit intimidating to go for that first time. But once you go once, you come back every year, right? So you can talk about your experience with that. Encourage participation in the core value program. So at this point, they're 5 weeks in, and surely there has been somebody who has stood out to them, who has taken them under their wing, who has invested in them, that they could nominate for a core value. So encourage them to do that and get into the practice of recognizing people who are awesome, and share about the excellence trip. This is another great networking opportunity. If you yourself have not gone on the excellence trip, connect them with somebody who has, and talk about how you get to that point of being able to go on the excellence trip and how that's decided, which, for your information, it is you have to have at least one of all 3 different core values. And then after that, we look at the quantity, the quality of the nomination, and the diversity of submitters for your nomination. So if you had 12 core values, but 7 of them were from your friend or your boss, then that's not going to have as much significance as somebody who had 10 core values, but they were from 8 different people. So that's something to keep in mind. And then ask them what causes and activities are meaningful to you, because they do have an opportunity to impact, especially that volunteer day, and let their manager know what they would like to invest in. And then we also do Operation Giving at the end of each year. And if that's something that they want to participate in, we try to donate to the causes that are important to you. So that's something to keep in mind. Week 6, so your last week, reflection and continued connection. So clarify any remaining questions that they have, anything that they want to talk more about. Ask them what has been most helpful so far. and discuss what they're most excited about moving forward. Reflect on how they've seen the mission and core values in action, which I'm sure at this point they will have seen that quite a bit. And then you can decide, do you want to continue informal check-ins moving forward? So our expectation is these 6 weeks. You do not have to continue to meet with this person beyond that. But if you could not imagine it any other way, then please feel free to set up either a schedule of every 2 weeks or once a month, or just a casual check-in every once in a while and let me know if you need anything, and continue to be a resource to them. What else to know? So a lot of people wonder how mentors are decided, and I am not the one that pairs mentors. It is the new hires manager. So I will compile a list of all of the certified mentors, and each new hire class, I email that out to the new hire managers. From that list, the manager will reach out to somebody on the list and ask them if they are available to mentor the new hire. If the manager does need help, I am always here as a resource. So if you are really, really interested in being a mentor and maybe you haven't been chosen yet, please let me know, because it is helpful to me to know the people who are really, really interested and just dying for that opportunity. It helps a lot. So if you want to shoot me an email and let me know that, that would be helpful. Share concerns with HR when needed. So if you do not hear from your mentee, please let me know within 1 week. What I don't want is for it to be 6 weeks and I'm getting those feedback forms, and that's when I find out that you never heard from them or that they never heard from you. You guys are the mentors here, so I do expect a little bit more out of you. And so I do want you to be upfront with me if you're having trouble getting a hold of them so that I can intervene as early as possible. Because what I don't want is for them to feel like they didn't hear from you when really it's just that they missed your email, whatever it is. Usually it's just a miscommunication, but I want to make sure that that is a positive relationship both ways. And the expectation is for them to participate in this just as much as it is for you. So please let me know as soon as possible, because mentors who do not meet with their mentee for 15 minutes weekly will be removed from the mentor list. I hate this. I feel mean. I am mean, but it's for good reason, because we want this to be a positive and consistent experience for all of our new hires. We know how important that is. The good news is last year, 89% of new hires had a positive mentorship experience and would recommend their mentor to another new hire. And guess what? Of the 11% who did not have a positive experience, it's because their mentor did not reach out to them regularly. So my hope here is that this can be a weight lifted off your shoulders, because what this tells me is if you show up consistently and you care, that is all they're looking for. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be the most compatible. You don't need to be their best friend. You don't have to have all the right answers. You don't have to have the biggest network of people to introduce them to. You just need to care and show up and be reliable, which you all already are, and that's why you are on this call right now. But that is so, so important. And even though I know that this is not the case when mentors don't show up, mentees feel like they take it very personally and they feel like there's something wrong with them. And I know that it's just because mentors get busy and they lose track of time, but that is not how it is received on the other end. And so that is why we take this so seriously, to just show up and be present. And with that, you are allowed to say no. So if a manager reaches out to you and you are either currently already mentoring, maybe you just finished mentoring somebody, or maybe it's just a really busy season, either for work or personally, and you're like, I just don't know if I have capacity, you can say no. You are not obligated to say yes every time somebody asks. I would much rather you say no up front than to say yes and then not show up for that new employee. Please feel free, if a manager reaches out, to just say, I'm sorry, I'm not available right now, but please keep me in mind for your next new hire. And there will be no hard feelings. So people say no all the time, and that is totally, totally fine. And then finally, if you are in person, we would love if you would take pictures so that we can share that on social media or even internally. Marketing appreciates any photo ops. So if you are somebody who might be mentoring a newly promoted manager, so not a new hire, but somebody who has been with the company, but they are new to management here at Rehab Industries, this is going to look a little bit different. So it's going to be a lot more casual than our new hire mentorship program because they already know a lot of that stuff, hopefully all of it, but they've been through that. They will be joining the mentorship program if they haven't already. But what we want you to do is have a kickoff meeting early on, introduce yourself to them. If you don't already know them, make sure that they know that you're their mentor. If you do already know them, get to know them. What's their background and what are their goals? Ask how you can best support them and discuss cadence of future meetings. So we want you guys to decide what the meetings look like moving forward. We don't want this to feel forced because as new managers are promoted, they all have different needs. So they might want a weekly check-in with you to bounce ideas off of you, but they might feel pretty supported where they're at, and they might not need that. So you guys decide what works for your schedules and just be a resource as needed. Be that listening ear and that support system for them. As an aside, all newly promoted managers will be meeting with Scott in HR to talk about the HR specific management expectations. So you do not need to cover that, and you don't need to do anything with that. But I just want you to know that that's something that new managers can expect. All right. Trish, are you on the call?
Yes, ma'am.
Yay! Okay, so I have asked Trish to join us today to share about her mentorship experience and why mentorship is important.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Trisha Stroll. I have mentored a few people in the 2 years that I have been here. For me, it was a huge leap of faith for me to even come to Rehab Medical. I was with my last company for 20 years. I knew, and it was logistics, absolutely nothing about anything medical. So coming here, doing a 1 week orientation, which luckily I only had to do 2 days, it was scary. It was really scary because 20 years dedicated someplace else, nothing to do with medical. Here I go into this company, they're talking it up. I feel like somebody's trying to sell me something, and it can be overwhelming. No offense there, Sarah. Don't take offense to that. But I realized how meaningful it is to have a mentor. Um, it's great because that particular mentor is your first impression of the true company, the true grit of the company, because you do feel overwhelmed. There's so many moving parts, and especially when you're not familiar with the terminology and things like that, it's oh my gosh, did I really make the right decision coming here? Um, I tend to get long-winded, so if I do, please interrupt me and tell me to stop. But I try to outline what I want to talk about. For me personally, mentorship is one of the most rewarding ways to grow, to lead, to inspire the future of this company. By becoming a mentor, you're basically guiding someone else's career. So this opportunity is not only to grow in your own career, but to help shape and develop others' careers. You sharpen your leadership skills and gain fresh perspectives and really make a meaningful impact on someone else's journey with the company. And being that person, that confidant for that person, you want them to have an escape. So not only do you want to just talk positives about the company. You also want to talk about your own struggles, like the way I started off this conversation saying, hey, I was really scared. I didn't know if that decision was right for me or not. And there's nothing wrong with that. Positives, negatives, if you can be that open about yourself, then more than likely your mentee is going to be more open about themselves and be like, you know what, look, I don't fit in to this particular department, but maybe, my expertise is more in IT, or something like that. And you are able to share that information. You don't want to break trust, obviously, but you are able to say, hey, would you like me to put in a word? Maybe we can get you moved, or something like that. I mean, you just want to be that. You want to be everything to that person. um it's I can't express enough how much it meant for me to have a mentor. You get uh, when you guide somebody's career, then it naturally enhances your leadership skills by coaching, active listening, empathy, strategic thinking, even because you got to plan out the next 6 weeks when you are asked to be a mentor. You got to just kind of look and say, okay, do I have the capacity? Do I have the bandwidth to take on this responsibility for the next 6 weeks? Um, but at the same time, remember, it's not just for that mentee, it's for you too. It's for you too. You get to stay connected, you get different perspectives, you get to see the new, fresh faces that are coming in. You get education, education these days versus education in my days, and we'll not get into age, but it's completely different. It's completely different. I am floored by some of the stuff that I learn. Um, but you create these bridges between yourself, the new hires, and the company. And these bridges cannot be broken. They cannot be broken. It provides such a strong foundation for us as an individual and us as a company. So, and the mentee's like, man, maybe I really did make the right decision. But it truly gives you a self of or yourself a sense of fulfillment, because you're helping someone grow, and that by itself is genuinely rewarding. Watching a mentee gain confidence and achieving their goals and overcoming obstacles, it just brings you personally a sense of accomplishment. Um, you're basically holding their hand for them and saying, hey, you know what, you can do this. You can do this. And if you want to be president, no offense, Kevin, wherever you're at, um, but if you want to be president of this place, then you can push these new hires to be okay. Let's do this. Let's set this goal, and let's make sure that you can achieve it. It's exciting because no one when you start working here, nobody. And you don't know who you can run to, and you don't know who you can confide in. And you confide in your friends that are outside of this place, which is great, but they don't understand what truly happens in this company. And this company is amazing. Nobody has a culture like this company. Nobody. I have never, ever seen an organization like this. And I'm a 6-year Army vet. So that is a sense of family right there. But this is different. This is a true sense of collaboration and family that
Yeah.
want you to succeed, that want you to grow, that want you to become a better version or the best version of yourself. So it is absolutely worth it, and I really hope that you all take advantage of this because it's truly self-rewarding.
So true. Oh, thank you so much, Trish. I appreciate you speaking to that. For anybody who hasn't yet been a mentor and maybe you're a little bit unsure, but with that, okay, two things. So if you have not been a mentor before, this is your first time being nominated, and you are interested in continuing, I have a form that I am sending in the chat for you to complete. So if you do not complete this, you will not be added to the certified mentor list. I will be referencing this form to see who is actually interested in continuing with the program. If you have already done this form, if you were previously on the list, you do not need to do it again unless you have decided that you are no longer interested in being a mentor, in which case you can complete it and indicate that you are not interested at this time. But other than that, you do not need to redo it. Now, I do want to give a moment to answer any questions that anybody has. So what's on your minds? You can either send it in the chat or come off of mute.
Or ask me
Yes.
if you're scared of Sarah.
Yeah. Look out. All right. Well, I don't just want to sit here and stare at you all, but I will hang back. If anybody does have any questions, feel free to hang on the call and ask, or you can ask me separately. But I just want to thank you all so much for taking the time to go through this training. I'm so excited to see who will be added to our mentor list, and definitely grateful for all of you and all that you have already done to support our employees. So thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you.